Okay, so now I'm over here and I wanted to show you basically what I'm going to do is clean this all up. So what we want to do is kind of wipe it all down and look for any damage. And like I said, you're talking about something that's under the bike that probably gets very little attention as far as that goes. And it's catching, all the Softails are catching all this stuff, all this dirt and grime and water, and everything else goes up underneath there. And what I noticed, that's interesting. This one here is going to have to be tightened somewhere along the way. This nut, for the lowering kit, has loosened. So this is a good time. That's why another reason to service these is to catch stuff like that. So so what we're going to do is I got to find a couple wrenches here that we can get onto that and tighten it up. So all right, so basically what it looks like, I'm going to have to hang on to this here and then tighten this here. If I can find a wrench that fits that. There we go. So at this point in time, snug that up. There we go. Luckily the other one was fine. But again, if I didn't take this apart for this reason, I would have never found that. So if you notice, you see that little hem joint that goes, how much dirt is on that joint. So you want to clean that up, and we're going to also throw some lube on it. So we'll clean this whole thing up like that. All right, wipe it down. Now, what I was saying about this, when I pull this spring out, as you can see, look at all the dirt that's on here. This is all in the bottom of this. There's quite a bit of dirt. So we ain't worried about that because we're not reusing that. But on this here, there's a plastic sleeve inside. So you'll want to get that out. And at the same time, I can hear the dirt falling out of this all over the place. So what you want to do, get the sleeve out. Here's the plastic sleeve. And then there's two other pieces in here. There's a rubber seal that goes down around the bottom of the shock part. And this piece that goes on the underneath of this. That goes in just like that. So this here holds the spring. So you want to get this cleaned out as best you can. So I'm just going to kind of wipe it down. We're going to put a little bit of silicone paste inside of there, just so that, because the new spring's going in there. One thing about Softails, when they start getting dirty like this and you got metal rubbing against metal, they start making noise, and they'll let you know that it's time to do a little bit of work to that suspension. So a lot of people always wonder what's making all that noise underneath my Softail. Why is it squeaking? Why is it when I go over bumps I hear ee, ee, ee? Well, that's why. The ee, 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 that's coming from there. As you can see, I got a little bitty crack in this right here, but that should be fine, because this basically just goes over the shock and kind of protects it, keeps it metal rubbing against metal. So because if you didn't have this, it'd be right against that case in there. So it's always good to reuse your old toothbrushes. Don't throw them out. They become a tool. So what you want to do is go ahead and get this as clean as you can. And then we're going to put this right here. And then what I'm going to do is clean this up a little bit. As you can see, grease, grime, everything. It's on there. So what we want to do is try to get as much of this stuff off so that we can start from scratch again. So, and the reason I use the silicone paste, what I like about it is it lubricates, but it also protects. So I like it because there's many uses for it, especially with if you're using anything with rubber. It's very protective for that. So anyways, what we're going to do is just clean all this stuff up before we reassemble. This is where it's important that you go ahead and put the paste on there and get everything pretty much cleaned up, so that when you put the shock back together, it's almost like having a brand new shock. So that's what we want to do. So we're at this point in time just looking at everything and verifying that we are good to go. So that's good, that's good. Now it's time. You can see in there, there's so much dirt. It's a mess. So what we're going to do is get our toothbrush and do a little dental work, because this is a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this all up, get this stuff loosened up, get it out of there. I can see a lot of crap in there. So we're going to get that all cleaned up. And then once we get this all cleaned up, then we can start assembling and basically making our shock brand new again. But yeah, I happen to, I didn't want to pay a whole lot of money like for progressive shocks. They're very expensive. And the problem is, by the time we get loaded down, these shocks have been fine. Like I said, if I'm riding solo or whatever, I can adjust these just fine. But by the time I fill the saddlebags and then my wife gets on there, both of us over the years put a couple pounds on. So that's just the way it goes. But anyways, by the time you do all that, you start to bottom out. So I didn't want to spend that kind of money for new springs or for new shocks when basically they made heavy duty, LA choppers made heavy duty springs for the stock shocks. So it was just my decision to say, okay, let's do these. And here is the new shock. As you can see, they come in 3 different colors, red ones, blue ones, and gray ones. I think the red is the least amount, then you got the blue, and then you got gray, which if you go to their website and look them up, they'll basically tell you, which springs are going to be best for you as far as your application. I went with the gray because, like I said, I need the extra. So I may have gone too heavy. I don't know, but we'll find out. They're adjustable just like your stock ones. So we're gonna see. So like I said, by the time I get loaded down, it's just gonna be easier. So what I'm doing with this paste is just kind of making a thin film inside of it and taking this brush here, just getting it all covered so that when I put that sleeve back in, it'll just slide right back down in there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just do this here and get this all boogered up and nice coat on there, and it looks good. And then what we're going to do is basically do the same thing on the inside of this where the spring rides. So this way it will definitely help keep the sound down as far as any squeaking or any odd noises that you get from the suspension, because that's what happens. These get dirty and they start making noise, and that's just the way it goes. That's part of owning a Softail. You got to own that. So not a big deal. I mean, if you like the look of a Softail and the look of it and the feel of it, and that's the kind of bike that you enjoy, you got to take the good with the bad. So but you can always make the bad a little bit better. So, and that's what the process here is. So definitely gonna I'm gonna try to maybe do another video where I show the test drive on this and just see how well everything goes. Now this part is tricky because you got to get this back down in here by keeping this in here. So you got to kind of do it at a tilt a little bit and then slide it down in there like that, because it wants to fall out in the bottom. So once you push it all the way to the bottom, look down here to see if you bottomed out, which it did. It bottomed out to the rubber. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put the spring down in here like so, and then we're going to work this down in here like so. So this has to come through the bottom just like that, and that's what you end up with. Now what I found when I did this other one, it definitely is harder to push down through into this and get the spring in, because it is much more pressure that's applied to it. So what we'll do is we'll put this on pause, and we'll carry on and continue with the process of putting the spring in, and then we should be all set. And I didn't really go over, you know, taking this shock out. It's 2 3/4 inch bolts that you take out. You know, if you jack the bike up, which that's what I did, I jacked the bike up, and you just so you got enough room to move the wrench, just take those 2 bolts out, front and back, and the whole shock just drops out. So you know, as far as the maintenance on them, it's pretty easy, and you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to do that. And taking these apart, after taking these apart, it is very simple, especially compared to any other motorcycle suspensions. They're all really kind of easy. This one's just a little bit different on how the Softail works. So let me put this on pause, and we'll go back over and press it in.